figured we'd have some real talk. Hey y'all, it's Krystal and Roscoe, and if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you're notified the next time I post a video. We thank you. Hey y'all, welcome to Back to Basics with Krystal. So today's videos are going to be a little bit different. I figured we'd have some real talk. The last video that I published 2 weeks ago was taken about a week before that, and it was Garden Tour Interrupted. We had so much rain out here that it actually flooded my garden out. Now today, I'm not seeing any standing water. Well, I'm lying to you. Look, there's a puddle right there. We have some more storms going to blow through this afternoon, but I thought we'd come out here and hopefully it's raining now. That video showed that we had gotten, at that time, 4 days of rain, straight rain. And we're not talking about like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. We are talking full 8-hour days of solid downpour rain. I don't know exactly how many inches we got, but I know it was over 12 inches. It had to have been. So you guys are probably gonna want a garden update. And the update is not good. So the garden stayed flooded out for about 3 days, 3 or 4 days. And then after that, it was just too wet to work for about almost another full 2 weeks. And then when it dried out enough for me to work, it just became overgrown very, very, very fast. I do have some tomatoes, some squash, a cattail in my face, some pickling cucumbers, not a whole lot. I lost 23 tomato seedlings. I lost all but one bean seedling. I lost all my okra. I'm trying to think what else. I lost more squash. I lost a lot of stuff during this. And to be honest with you, if we're going to be just really brutally honest here, it's enough to make me lose motivation. I've had some time to think about it, what I want to do with my garden this year. Do I want to just call it a year and let, whatever's going to grow? I've got some, it's decent looking. Or do I want to clean this mess up and plant more plants? Up until about yesterday, I really didn't know which way I was going to go, to be quite honest with you. And I was reminded about the upcoming food shortage that we're going to see coming out of the Midwest because of all the flooding. And honestly, that was enough motivation. I know that I need to get whatever I can stocked up. I know I see what's coming down the pike, and along with a lot of other people. If CNN is reporting on it, then and it's in mainstream media, that it's something that they're trying to draw our attention to. So I decided I'm going to clean this mess up, and I am going to salvage what's left of my gardening season. The good thing about being in Southeast Texas Zone 9A is that I have a very, very, very long grow season. Up until about Thanksgiving. The sad part about that is that it gets very, very hot and humid here. So with an attempt to salvage my season, and last year and the year before, I had half my garden growing very late, and it did well. It did well. So will I have the same successful season that I dreamed about all winter with starting so late? I don't know. But I won't know unless I try, right? So if you're in the same boat as me, and it looks like your garden season is a wrap because Mother Nature is off her bipolar meds, then know that you can still do something. We're going to do it together. You can kind of see what's behind me. It's a mess. Let me show you what we've got growing. Okay, so we have a couple of rows here. This first row that we've got right here is all squash. It's an 80-foot row of squash. And then right next to that, we have another 80-foot row of pickling cucumbers. All the way down there. Yes, the garden is full of weeds. Yes, 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 yes. You're seeing that correctly. This row right here, we have got some jalapeno peppers. Some of them are thriving, like this little guy right here, and some of them have completely died back. Okay? Got another 80-foot row of tomatoes. These are an indeterminate variety of tomatoes, so yes, they need to be staked up. And we've got lots of, I've allowed some of the suckers to grow since I lost so many tomato plants. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to show you guys what I do with those suckers. So I've got some more, and I'm going to give you guys a close-up. We'll just run through. We've got a few more squash plants. Now, I would go by and tell you guys what variety of squash, but honestly, I forgot to label all of them. And so I have no idea what kind they are. Got a couple more pepper plants, and you can see it is hard to tell what is plants that I want to keep versus weeds. That's something we have to eliminate. Okay, right here, these are my Thai double blue butterfly pea. It is a long name. I'm going to have to shorten up that name. But y'all, I wanted to show you the gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous blooms. This is a vine. Look at that bloom. This video, I can tell you right now, will not do this color justice. This color is this gorgeous royal purple color. These flowers are edible. They make a tea. In Thailand, they use it to color food for dessert. So really, really cool plant. Right over here, now I've got two rows. So I've got a row here, and I've got another row right here. So over here, we have volunteer green bitter melon. Yes, it all has to be staked up. I came through yesterday, and I did weed through, get rid of all of the weeds around the base of the plants, and I'm going to cover them back up with more hay. You see, there is some hay here, but it's not a whole lot. Okay, so back to this. These were volunteers from last year. Now, they came up right in here, right in the walkway. So I transplanted them, and y'all, I really thought I was going to lose these plants because after I transplanted them, they were not happy with me. So it's really hard to tell, but I've got all the way into this grassy area, and I'm going to have to carefully go through and weed out and then stake up. And my daughter and I are planning on staking a bunch of plants up tomorrow. I don't know if we'll get to this, but it's got to be done really quickly. You can see over here where I completed the weeding, and I mean, you can see these are all volunteers, which is a good thing because none of my white bitter melon actually germinated this year. Let's see, over here we have more pepper plants, and these are looking fabulous. They were yellowed really, really badly, and after a feeding, they have come back and started turning green. You can actually see, like this one right here, see the older leaves are yellow, but these new leaves are beautiful and green. They all have lots of suckers on them, and I'm letting that happen on purpose. I'm going to go ahead and let them have their suckers, and just because I've had so much failure this year, I thought, well, why not, you know? So all the way down this row, this is an 8-foot row, different varieties of peppers. I've got, these are all paprikas in here, and then coming in here, I've got lemon spice jalapeno. These are all lemon spice jalapeno. Anaheim peppers, one of my favorite peppers from last year. I'm growing a bunch of them. I love them. Nice and spicy. Really, really love them. They dehydrate really, really well. And then into some eggplants. I've got a couple of different varieties. I've got a Thai purple, which I love. I've got a Thai green striped, it's a small round green striped eggplant. I grew the Lao version of last year, so I'm trying the Thai version this year to see what I like better. These are two of these seedlings that I had in trays over there. These are the two that I thought would make it. I had a lot of really weird growth. What I mean by that is some of them, the reason why I didn't transplant them is because they actually, what's the right word? They didn't grow tops. They didn't grow tops. They didn't grow suckers. It was the weirdest thing. I know I should have documented it, but I just got rid of them. These actually had tops, so I let them grow. This is a, right here, starting from about right here all the way over, is a Lemon Boy tomato plant I did pick up at Walmart. It's a Bonnie plant. There's a little tag right there. This was very long and lanky, so I trenched it. It's the first time I've ever done any trenching, and I'm letting the suckers grow out. We will talk about that in a couple of weeks, I promise you. So it's trenched. This is actually where the root ball is, okay? Now this right here, this is a sucker that I took from the top of the plant over here. So this is a sucker that I took off and I put it in the ground, and I've kept it watered well. This tomato plant, I did the Roots and Refuge Jess. She does the, the egg, throw an egg in the ground and kind of crack it. So I did it with this tomato plant, and it seems to be benefiting it, So there's the sucker, and it's doing great. And here is the top of the plant. So yeah, see how long and lanky it is? So, yeah, so we've got one sucker there. We've got two suckers there. There's the top of the plant there. This is another indeterminate. It will have to be staked up. But, with as much as I've lost this year, I figured, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and buy a couple of tomato plants. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with you guys doing it either. But from one plant so far, I've got now two plants. So from one plant that I bought, I've now got two plants, and I'm going to turn this into 3, 4, possibly 4 to 5 different plants. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. This is my very lone ranger bean plant. This bean plant is my sole survivor. I had 2 rows here, and I had about 50 foot of bean plants, bean seeds that I stuck in the ground. I had several of them germinate and die out. They just didn't like their roots being drowned out, and that's what it amounted to. Let's see. I've got one left. Snake of Mongolia eggplant. I've never grown it before. I thought it looked really cool, so that's what we did. For some reason, something has been eating several of my plants. Now, I did use a 13 fertilizer, but I don't use any pesticides in my garden, okay? Don't use any pesticides, so I have to figure out what's eating my plant and the best way to eradicate said problem without chemicals. Okay. So they're ready. These are gorgeous. This is a national pickling cucumber, and it's one of my favorite pickling cucumbers. I've used 3 of them now. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I'm not too sure what's going on here. So this is a row of squash. This is almost a full row. I lost very little squash here. Not too sure why these guys survived and my others didn't. But let's talk about squash for a minute, okay? This is a nice variegated leaf squash. This is, I'm guessing, a gray zucchini is what I'm guessing. Nice variegated leaves. You can see several of them have variegated leaves, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. When you rub the leaf, nothing comes off. See? This is the leaf itself. Okay, so I've seen several people ask, they've seen their baby squash die off. Well, squash, melons, cucumbers, they all have a male bloom and a female bloom. This right here, my hand behind it, this right here, this one, is a male bloom. Actually, both of them are male blooms. How do we know that? Okay, how do we know that? Because there's no fruit. There's no fruit on them. This right here, it's scratchy. This one right here is a female bloom. And we know that because you can actually see the baby fruit. So what we hope happens is that the male bloom and the female bloom both open at the same time. When that happens, pollination is going to happen either by insect or by wind, or you can actually come in and do it yourself. I don't. I just let it happen on its own, and it seems to happen, and I have lots of squash every year. So we want the male blooms and the female blooms to open at the same time. Pollination will happen. The male bloom, after about, I think it's like 24 to 48 hours, the male bloom will actually just drop off, and the fruit will actually then grow and grow into a nice size squash. So we've got one there. Ooh, this one's a nice example over here. That's a nice plant. They're about 1.5 foot, 2 foot, circumference, I guess. Okay, so here's a really good example right here. That's a nice little female bloom right here. And look, stink bug back there. You see it? Stink bug. Okay, so nice little, it's right here. The female bloom is right here. And it's not near ready to open up yet. And then we see lots and lots of male blooms. And we also see a male bloom over there that has fallen off. Now, if you can get to the male bloom before it falls off, before it's out of its prime, that is the one that you're going to stuff or fry, and they are delicious. So these are all different squash. You can see variegated leaves and then non-variegated leaves. Some have variegated leaves. I love the variegated leaves. Y'all, the first time I ever grew a squash plant that had variegated leaves, I was convinced there was something wrong with my plants, but they're not. Remember, I said if you can rub it and something rubs off on your hands, then that's powdery mildew, something totally different. And there's 3 or 4 different variety of squash in this row. I think this one, let's see if we can tell. This one, I believe, is going to be like a round zucchini right there. Let me show you guys how I stake up my tomato plants. I used to do horizontal, where I would run a string in between each T-post, okay? I don't do that anymore because what was happening is about halfway through towards the end of the grow season, the string or the twine would just sag so bad and would end up falling just from the weight of the fruit, the weight of the plants themselves. So I did a lot of research, and I saw how the commercial grow houses were doing it. And they do this kind of vertical trellising. So that's what I've got done here. So I took 2 T-posts, and they're like, I don't know, 7 foot, 6 foot apart. And I've got 1 2x2 on each T-post going vertically. And then I've got a 2x2 up there. And then I've got another 2x2 down there going horizontal. And I've put it together and held it together with zip ties. So sophisticated. I'm telling you, this is Redneck Engineering 101. Okay, so we zip tie it all together, and then I take baler's twine, which y'all, if you're not buying baler's twine, you really need to, because that stuff goes a long way. So then we take and we tie the baler's twine up there, and then we tie another one to that post, that 2x2 right there. Now, just a kind of a side note here, the 2x2s, I actually bought 2x4s and cut them down on the table saw. So much cheaper than buying 2x2s. But if you don't have a table saw, then you buy the 2x2s. So then what I have done is I'm holding them together. This right here. So I bought these on Amazon, these little clips, and the clips actually hold on to the string themselves and then wrap around, and it gives a lot of room for the tomato stalk to grow in there. Last year I actually had a couple of tomatoes that this was actually too tight on. So I just take, and let's see if I can do this one-handed. So I just take this and just very carefully Wrap it around the string very, very carefully. I know y'all are not seeing all of this. Just very, very carefully. Okay. Try not to break anything off, especially those blooms. Just very gently. You don't want to break anything off. I wrap it around like that, and then I can take one of those clips and hold it tight because there is a ton of wind out here. So that's how I hold them up. They'll vine up. They'll grow around that string all the way up. All the way up. Oh, I forgot to show you guys my lemongrass. There's the lemongrass right there. It's got to be planted out. I'm going to plant about half of this out, and then the other half I'm going to sell in these 1 gallon pots locally. I can't remember how many. I think there's like 30 of them. And I've got 1, 2, 3 tomatillo plants left. I think there was a total of 10. Now there's 3 left. We've got more tomatoes over here. And again, letting those suckers grow out. And I've got to come in here and wrap, like you saw me do earlier, wrap the tomato around the string. To give you guys an update on my my entry into the Tomato Grow Off 2019, here it is right here. Here's my purple Cherokee plant. It's gorgeous. It's about 2.5 foot tall, and we have got fruit. Look at it. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fruits so far. 6 fruits. And again, like I've said, we've got suckers, and I'm going to continue to let them grow, and that's how we're going to supplement our plants here. And remember the suckers that I took off? Here they are. Every single one of them grew, even the ones that I thought had died off because they were too little, and these are getting ready to go into the ground. So that was my itty bitty garden tour. Didn't take long at all. I'm just going to start cleaning the mess up, and I'm going to start with mowing down each row. Not mowing, the walkway, sorry. I'm going to start mowing and scalping the land in between the rows, so the walkway. And that's where I'm going to start. And just like I did back over here with the Thai blue butterfly pea, that is so long to say. That is just such a long plant name to say. I am going to kind of weed around the plants, and I'll put more hay down, and I'll just keep applying the hay. Sorry, I got hair in my eyes. I'll keep applying the hay and keep the soil cool. That's the plan for the summer. If the soil is cool, the plants will do fine. You keep those roots cool and moist, and the plant will do okay. They might wilt down during the day, but they'll pop right back up in the evening, and they'll be perfectly fine. So they'll stress out a little bit during the day, but they'll be perfectly fine. They'll give me cucumbers. They'll give me tomatoes. I've seen it 2 years in a row now, and I guess this is kind of a drastic and dramatic way of showing you guys that the Ruth Stout method, keeping the soil covered, really will work. And this was not planned by any means. You know, we stayed flooded out, and then we had some really important family time. Our daughter turned 18. Y'all, I have an 18-year-old. I have an adult child. And I wasn't a baby when she was born. So I have an adult child now, and also she graduated high school. So we had these really big moments all within the same month, just a couple of weeks apart from each other. And so family time had to happen, because this is why I garden, is because of them. This is why I grow food, because of them. So yeah, I took the time off that I needed to celebrate with her and with the rest of the family. And it was a really nice, beautiful time. So now that's done and over. Summer is here. Summer is out for the summer. School's out for the summer. My son is at my mom's house. He'll be back next week to help with some of the heavy lifting around here as well. I'm going to bring you guys back every day and just kind of show you what I have done. Every day, I probably, unless it's really super important, I'm not going to show you the process. I'm not going to show you, show me mowing the grass. You guys know how to use a lawnmower, so, but anything more specific than that, I will show you. But for the most part, these are going to be sort of vlogs, and I'm going to show you what we've got done. I'm going to show you how we're going to make this garden work. This will be the first year that this garden is not organic. It was all organic last year, but because of all the nutrients washing away with all the flooding that we had, I used the triple 13 this year. So I showed you guys the difference on the squash blooms, the male and the female. So keep that in mind and know that some of your squash plants, some of your plants, period, will have variegated leaves. And it all depends on the variety. I have no powdery mildew in my garden right now. I have like 6 or 7 plants that are variegated leaves. So if you're seeing variegated leaves in your garden, and if you rub the leaves and it's not coming off on your fingers, powdery mildew will kind of come off on your fingers. If that's not coming off, you have variegated leaves, your plants are fine. Okay, so you can see my plants are nice and healthy, except it's in the heat of the day right now, and some of them are wilted over. And this is where we're going to end the video for today, and we'll just come back every day and give you guys an update, even really small ones. But I wanted to show you the status of the garden. It's not pretty. It's not. This is not where I thought I'd be right now. This time last year, I was up to my eyeballs in making pickles. And right now, my plants are doing well, but it took them 3 weeks to germinate. Yeah, so what's here now is really fought for life. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you like this video. I hope that you follow this journey with me. Please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're notified on the next video that I do post. And until we talk again, y'all be blessed. Bye now.